Yo, I
Hey,
can't. Oh,
hello.
there you are. Yes, hello.
How are you?
I'm
Nice to
good,
meet you.
man. Yeah, dude, I've like known you for so long now, but now
Yeah, it's been a while.
actually hearing your voice and putting a name to the or a sound to the name is it's nice. Um,
Yeah, I'm glad to be talking to you finally.
would you like to would you like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about like what you've been up to and how you're where you're at?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, chat. I'm Salvador. I'm from Venezuela. I've been doing 3D for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. So before getting to 3D, I was studying electronic engineering, so that was fun.
Electronic
Um,
engineering?
Yeah, yeah,
That's hardcore.
that was an experience. I studied I studied for about 2 years, and I decided that that's what I didn't wanted really wanted to do. So I
Yeah.
just switched to 3D. Like I made the switch first to graphic design and photography. So I spent 2 years doing that. Then that helped quite a bit
Oh,
when
I
I
bet.
finally switched to 3D. So yeah, right now I'm doing some freelance work for a
Hmm.
studio for the marketplace,
Dude,
and
nice.
I'm helping some students in an online school as a TA. So yeah, quite
Man,
fun.
that's awesome. Yeah, you've been doing a lot then. Um,
Yeah, I feel like I've done okay progress. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's do you want to talk about your military radio? Like that's last year.
Yeah, yeah. So this was kind of my first real prop, so to
Mm.
speak, where I went through the whole process. Um, it's obviously based on the tutorial by Simon.
Hmm.
I try my best to not do the same design, right? To not suppose the one to one. I
Yeah.
try to make something a little bit different. I of course see a lot of issues right now, of course, but I think overall it was a good learning experience and a good challenge, which set me up quite nicely for the other projects. I
Yeah, I
believe.
mean, when you look at this one, if we go back and then look at like some of your more recent stuff, there's definitely a jump. So I don't think it's more to do with like, oh, let's look at this to see like like where you were at in your skills a year ago, because like a year ago is a while back, right? Um,
Yeah.
what's the main issues that like you feel like? What's the number one problem for you on this one?
Um. I mean, I think mainly the texture work.
Hmm.
I think it's the weakest link, um, because it's not really like you can really identify the material. I think, and you told me this a while ago, so
Yeah, it's like
I've
identify.
tried to take yeah I've tried to take that feedback as close as I can, but I think that's the weakest link in this project at least.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean, because like it just like the materials, you're like, okay, what is that made out of, or why does it look the way that it looks? Um, some of the stuff that I was noticing was like in the normal map bake, there's some like triangulation issues
Oh
in the
yeah,
bake itself. But you don't. The thing
yeah,
is you don't see it. I don't know where that's at, but I mean, I guess if you don't see it, it doesn't matter all that much. I don't know. Like it does. It does. Like if this wasn't here, I would have no idea that there's any normal map issues, which is I think why people really like. Especially myself, I like to see the maps. Um, I like to see how things are working because it kind of gives me a little bit of an insight to the understanding of like where the artist is at in their skill set. You know. Um,
yeah,
yeah, and like for example, if you look at the roughness, everything's relatively close to the same range. So there nothing really pops out unless it's like the like cable here or like some of the
hmm,
metal elements. And maybe that's enough. It just feels very level with everything. So I'm wondering are these actually even in this map? Maybe they are here.
yeah. Yeah, they are. They're the really long ones on the right side, I believe.
Okay. And then the metal that's in here. I don't see a metalness map. That's the only other map that I'm like, I want to know what this person thinks about metalness.
Yeah, I should have put that in. I should have put that in.
But I mean,
But
this is a year ago, so gray exiles. He's like, put gray. Don't do it. So the next one is actually from the community group challenge for Beyond Extent. Super great community. If you guys don't know of it, it's it's a dope group of people. And the guy running it is a genius. I love that guy. Yeah, would you like to talk a little bit about this one? Because it looks like you grouped up with a handful of people.
yeah, absolutely. So I really wanted to join these team challenges at some point because I
Mm,
think it's important to learn to, learn how to work with other artists, right?
mm-hmm.
We had a month to do this a little bit. I was mostly in charge of the lighting and the camera composition. I really
Okay.
didn't do any modeling or texture work. I just focused on the mood and the general direction for the other guys. But I mean, I think we did a good job for the month that we had. So I just wanted to kind of celebrate the the
Yeah.
experience in the portfolio, I guess. So
Yeah, it's awesome. I guess when I see like all the people that are in here, it it'd probably be worth saying like next to their name like what they were up to, and then you said myself. If you put yourself at the top to say what you did, because that's where people will start. Not that you should be at the
okay.
top or whatever, but um, you
Yeah.
know, it just it helps the viewer understand how the scene was put together, or like what people are looking at when they when they see a group project, really understanding what the group meant, like who was who and whatnot. So you weren't in charge of like this spline clipping through the ground, then? Is that right?
Yeah, so that was a little bit of a last time or last minute type of thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah. I mean, they really did a good job with the modeling, the other guys. So I just tried my best to kind of frame everything as best as I could. So,
yeah. There's
but
quite a bit of detail for a month, like
yeah,
surface
in
detail.
yeah, no, they did really good. Thankfully that was a great experience, and I'm doing another one right now because I
Yeah,
really enjoyed the process.
yeah.
But
Learning to work with people is really important, and some people don't get that until they start like an internship or their first job.
yeah, definitely. I think that's a good selling point of the community.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, the lighting was fun to do. I had a good time doing the lighting.
Yeah.
I
What
think
were
that
you
the
thinking about when it came to the lighting on this?
well, I mostly just wanted to kind of really highlight the hero prop, right, to
Yeah.
give a sense of greatness, even or a little bit of mystery around it. So I just mostly try to focus on it and just give the proper highlights to it mostly. So from the first angle, in the hallway, you could
Yeah.
kind of still see it.
Let me go back down to
So
the
that was
yeah
mostly
this hallway.
my direction. hmm
Yeah,
So
with this hallway, I guess it's being lit by the sun. Is that what's going on? Like the sun's passing
yeah,
through the.
so yeah, through the roof. I used the directional light and a couple of rectangular lights just to
Okay.
enhance it a little bit more.
Because like when I look at this, my brain's immediately like, oh, it's a hallway. So you're expecting the ceiling to be closed, but I see the light on
hmm
the ground here, and then you've also got like light illuminating the tops of these supports, and
Yeah,
it feels like when you have oh, what is the word for it? When you have it almost feels like it's supposed to be closed, but light's bleeding in. So it kind of
yeah,
can read like a bug. So I think if there's an angle that's better for this type of directional light, it's going to be an angle that casts more gradients on areas like this. So if like these were more up the wall, so if, say instead of noon it was like 2 p.m. or so, and you can actually see like the light casting on the support above, but then casting down against the wall. It just helps you understand the space a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, man, group projects are freaking powerful. I would like to do some of those in the Empire soon.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be up to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this group was quite large as well. There were 6 of
Yeah,
you.
there were some issues with like the scheduling and whatnot, but it was mostly just to collaborate between each other.
Hmm.
So we all learned a little bit
Right.
from each other. So
Yeah, it's awesome.
that's always good.
That's a good group project then. When everyone learns something. Uh, okay, so writer's room. Oh, it's also UE4
Yeah.
as well. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So
baked a
yeah,
lot
go for it.
in that. Um, yeah. So writer's room,
I've looked at
really
this one a
kind of
lot.
my yeah,
Yeah.
you've looked at it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was kind of my first environment, so to speak, to finally complete it, from beginning to end. Um, there were a lot of things to learn at that time, right, regards to shaders
Hmm.
and how to bring stuff into Unreal. So that was quite a learning experience. Obviously, I got a lot of help from my school and my mentor.
Hmm.
Um, so they helped quite a bit, and the feedback weekly sessions from him, they really pushed the quality a lot.
Yeah.
Um, Especially because I really did have a lot of idea on how to approach certain things. So um, I see that I could have done a lot of things better, but for that at that time, I think I did an okay job, right?
Yeah, I mean
Actually,
this looks really nice.
I like this project got me a few interviews early in the year, which I didn't get the job at the end, but I think it was a good benchmark
Yeah,
for me at least.
that's quite a good sign when it starts pulling people's attention enough to contact you.
Yeah, yeah. So that was pretty good. So but what do you think about it? You've given me plenty of feedback already on it, but
Yeah. So okay, so the things that stick out to me is of course the mirror feels a little strange. I don't know if it's why, but just the way it reflects things, it's very dark. Usually it'll blend
Mhm.
right in. The glass shader wise feels like it's also popping out in a strange way, like just the way it's
Yeah,
refracting things kind of makes it feel more stylized and not so much like grounded in the scene that it's part of.
yeah.
Some of the other stuff was like we do a close up of this table and this all looks pretty good for the most part. I think it's the stack of papers and seeing the
It's repeating
replication.
a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting away from
Yeah.
those. I mean, I guess it just takes a little bit of extra time to sit there and swap them around. Um, but yeah, so there's watching out for that type of stuff. This one's also just like a tangent with the top of the chair. If it was just down here,
Oh man.
then that would be enough to fix the frame, I think. And then the dust, there's a I forget what it's called, but if you go into the setup for the particles, you can actually make the particles part of the depth of field. You can have them render before the
Oh.
depth of field, because I think by default they're going to render after DOF or post processing has happened. And you can go into the actual setup per particle node and tell it to be. I think you actually do it in the shader. Yeah, it's a material setting. Thank you, Vince. So the material for those
Oh.
dots, you just go into the setting. It's the left panel, and you just scroll down, and you're basically looking for a thing where it's like render before post processing pass, or like change the render order.
Oh, I should look into
Yeah,
that.
so basically, if a particle's closer to you and depth of field is happening, it will doff those out as well, which really helps in kind of grounding. That like this, the number one thing you'll see in particles is people will use depth of field, and then all of a sudden it's like it's separated from the scene because it's happening after post processing.
Huh.
But yeah, yeah, because you can see back here, those should be blurred out. You would still see them, but they'd be blurry.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
Vince
should
is
look into
sad because he's like,
that.
I have things in my portfolio that I hate now because I see them. It's okay. I didn't know until Particle in Discord told me. Oh, it's a nice breakdown as well in here. Yeah, see
Thank you.
this
Yeah.
this geometry here. There's like a lot of wasted
Mm.
loops where like those don't need to be there. They won't change anything if they're gone. Like
Yeah,
I
I
bet
guess
you.
at the time
Yeah.
oh
Go ahead.
sorry, my logic was to continue the edge flow, so to speak.
Hmm.
But I guess I could have terminated, I guess, a bit better.
Yeah, it's the same with the handle on the stick, or the cane, I should say. The stick. Oh man, it's so funny. I should be doing these portfolio reviews in the morning or something. Although that'd probably be a bad idea. Um, yeah, I mean, overall, this looks really, really good. And there's just those small things to adjust, right? So like, you see the normal information on paper. You could do that
Yeah.
like in a tileable, like a detail normal instead. Let the paper be smooth and then do like a parchment detail normal, and you just tile it really high, and then you control the strength, and then you really rely on that detail normal and the roughness, and that'll take you really far with paper materials.
Okay. Okay. I didn't thought about that.
Yeah, detail normals, man, they're the best thing in the world.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, these this chair as well is very detailed on the bottom area. Like you, if you removed some of those loops, you probably wouldn't even know, as far as like the circumference of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see if we keep going down this. The ORM map, it's cool to see you packing the maps. It's so, man, I wish I could see the individual channels. I mean, I guess I could if I copy this and just like paste it in here, and then do go to the channels and then just go through. I can see them.
Oh man, when you got exposed.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, dude, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of images in here. I wonder if there's too many. Let me see. I'll just scroll through this. I think all of these prop breakdowns. Maybe if you did like the lantern as a breakdown, and then the rest were
Mhm.
just kind of like all together, like the paper, and I don't know. See, like you have all of these together, and that's more than enough for me. Uh, just to understand that aspect of it, and then seeing like the just one of the props kind of broken down with the maps is enough to tell me how you're thinking about your modeling, how you deal with geometry, how you deal with your textures, and like what your packed maps look like, and how your normals bake. Yeah, so it's basically cutting down on the scrolling, but still giving me enough information. But I guess you have to know what
Okay.
people are looking for, right? Like
Yeah.
what do they
I
want to
guess
see?
I guess I'm just assuming the more info, the more transparency, I guess, I
True.
have in the portfolio. But
Yeah, that does make sense. I can understand the logic in that. That's nice seeing some materials in here too. And I do really like the reference board, because like I look at this reference board and I always wonder when someone builds a scene, how many references did they gather? Because if I look at this, I would say when at work, reference gathering for a scene like that would probably be like 3 or 4 times this amount. Like the lighting and mood would be pretty standard, like with that. Maybe there's enough reference with the wood, but I think it's really heavy prop breakdown. So like for the lantern, you'd probably see like 15 images of just lanterns, just trying to get every angle, understanding all the little elements.
yeah.
But it looks like, I mean, it looks like you have enough information here. There's
Yeah, I
not
guess
really
I
a
just saw
right
the
answer.
lantern.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I think this is enough. But
Yeah, like, oh, I'll make
yeah,
that. Yeah, that's
I'll
good.
definitely think about that.
Yeah. Let's look at the last. So the sector 48. Actually, I remember when you posted this, I was like, yeah, dude, that's sick, because it happened. It happened very quickly, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this was quite an experience.
Yeah.
lot of shader and second UV channel and RGB masking. So plenty of things I had to learn uh, for the scene, which it was worth it, right? It took me a few months to complete,
Hmm.
but it was also to redeem myself a little bit because I early in the year I failed on art test.
Oh man,
So,
yeah, that never
but
feels good.
yeah, that never feels good, and I failed it tremendously. Like it was not good.
Oh
So I had to
man,
learn all the yeah. I took all those those mistakes, and that's why I made this one. So
yeah, I imagine this one got you quite a bit of attention.
yeah, it got a few likes in there. It was I mean, some people really liked it. So
Oh man, look
as
at
you
that
know, there are
reference
a
board.
couple of things too. Yeah, huge reference board.
You were gonna
That
say
was
sorry?
that was
Yeah.
intense. No, that I still know there are some things maybe in composition or material reading that could be
Hmm.
better, but compared to the writer's room, I think everything has come together quite a bit since then.
Yeah, it's quite consistent. I know that like you're using a trim sheet for the sidewall here, so you are getting a bit of stretching. Um, and
Yeah,
maybe
that's
that's
that's the
just going.
parallax
Yeah, it's just going too far with
happening.
that. Oh, you're using Palm for that.
Yeah, in the shader showcase video, there's you can see the switch in there. You just turn off
Where's
and turn on the
am I
parallax.
missing
The
it?
last
Oh,
video.
it's this video here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. When I saw this video, I was like, okay, this is dope because it shows how much you're thinking about reuse of an asset and just control, as well as like shader complexity. Like, did you set the shader up or did you go in and like?
Yeah, no, I set it up because it was also part of a challenge for another community, which
Mm,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't grab any external resources, so I had to build everything myself
oh man.
for this scene in particular. So yeah,
Oh my
plenty of
gosh.
hours just looking
Yeah.
at the graph. It was intense.
Oh wow, you're even
It was quite
mapping
intense.
the. Did you just cut geometry there so that you have an area to move the UVs around?
It's just a plane on top of
Oh
the
okay.
on top of the mesh,
Oh I
pretty
see.
much.
Yeah, and so you
And
man,
I
that's really nice.
I put the decals in a way where we just offset the
Hmm.
UVs and then just be able to switch the numbers pretty much.
Yeah, I think with the palm you're just going just a little too strong, or you need to give more room for
Maybe the
for
height not.
pixels on that area. Like the height can be that extreme, as long as there's enough
Mhm.
pixels there to fake the surface. I love how you're just going crazy with the shader. You're like, see all the colors. Do you see it?
Yeah, I had to showcase it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, this is
the
really
more the
cool.
better.
No, super nice. Yeah, this one looks like was a really big technical push, and you've probably learned a ton from this one.
Oh man, you have no idea.
You're like
It
I.
was
I
it was
remember
good.
how much hair I had before.
Yeah, yeah, but hopefully this will set me up for better personal projects in the
Yeah,
future.
I bet it. I bet it will because you can see the leap in quality. Dude, awesome. Yeah, I think with this one, lighting wise, it's quite uniform. And
Mhm.
it's like if there were ways to help you like separate the elements. I mean, I know it's just a short hallway, so there's not a lot you could do to uh, to change that. Maybe if there was a pipe version where you didn't have the uh, the wheel, so that you could just have that in one spot,
Okay.
or like focusing the lighting not so uniform and like at very key spots. Like if this scene was actually quite dark and there was only a light at the door and you relied on bounce lighting to kind of fill the rest of the space, that could be pretty interesting. But then again, it does hide a lot of all the work you like pushed.
Yeah, I guess I went more for the dark look in the video. I went more a little bit more horror a little bit, but yeah, I'll
So,
I'll definitely think about that
yeah,
for
the
that.
video is quite like seeing the lighting animated. I remember watching this video now. Seeing the lighting animated is really It's really nice. And also flickering lights, man, they're expensive.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all
I
I
had
hear
to
when I make games at, at work. Flickering lights, man, those are expensive.
yeah, I
Oh,
had to
this is
see quite
sick.
a few tutorials to set it up. But it was fun. It was also my kind of a good experiment for the sequencer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
No,
it
I
was good.
mean,
It was worth
you're
it.
making great progress in your portfolio, and it sounds like you've been quite busy with a lot of things. So, congratulations with that. Um,
Thank you.
are you? Do you have any questions before we jump over to the next call?
Yeah, well, I guess I mostly wanted to know your insight on something I've been thinking about.
Mm,
Um, because some of the things I found, during the interviews that I had is that they can't hire me because, I'm still a junior, right? And I will still need to get a visa for pretty much everywhere because
yeah,
really where I live, there's no, there's no industry. So
yeah.
um, I don't know if it might be worth it for me to maybe just find a scholarship in Europe and study again for two
Oh,
years and then from
interesting.
there jump
I
into the
mean,
industry. Or, I mean,
that
I'm
can,
kind of in that dilemma.
yeah, that kind of could work. That is a way. Droppy in chat says 2K hires juniors. It's a great way to get in. Droppy got in the
I'll
same
look
way.
into it.
Yeah, you could message Droppy about that as well. Droppy, if you post your Discord uh, name in the chat, that would be helpful, I think. But that's one way of doing it. Um, getting articles helps with visas usually, at least with the U.S. I'm not sure about other countries like in the EU. Um, yeah, I mean, I
Yes. So yeah, so
yeah.
most of the times they've been like we really like your work, but we need to interview the locals first, and then they just drop it,
Oh
which
dang,
is kind of a bummer.
that's stressful.
Um, yeah, it's been kind of frustrating a little bit.
Mm.
Um, but I'm just I gotta keep trying, I guess. That's why I'm thinking about going to future games because they
Oh
offer
yeah,
a full scholarship for people
yeah,
in this area. So
dude. I would do that.
but
You're
I'm
talking about future games in Stockholm.
in Sweden. Yeah, in Sweden.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, and
yeah.
to
Yeah, that
answer
sounds good.
Pe- Perry, yeah. So I found a freelance gig
Mm.
with another studio that does marketplace stuff, but it's still quite difficult, especially because there's a lot of economic restrictions with Venezuela. So
Hmm.
just a lot of stress. But
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like it.
uh, I'm just trying to find the solution
Well, let me
for
know if you need help with
you know.
Sweden, because like I guess I would still consider myself foreign, even though I've been here for 8 years. I'm not like I came in not knowing anything and then kind of slowly figured it out over time.
Yeah,
But
yeah, no, but
let's carry on that conversation in the Discord. I'd be curious to see the results of like what happens or like where you end up going, as well as because like this
mhm.
question comes up a lot um, for people that are living in areas where there's no industry, and then they need to go somewhere, but going somewhere as a junior is extremely difficult usually. So it's a very
It
common
is.
thing I hear about. I'd like to get a handle on more of like what happens and how people like defeat that. So, but cool.
All
Yeah,
right.
let's chat more outside the stream. I'd like to know or help if possible on some of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely take you up on that. Thank you for your time, then. It was really helpful.
Yeah, yeah, it's good chatting as well. It's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we'll talk more soon.